Welfare law enforcement and the prison industry are one of the greatest industries in America today. They are one, they are together, they work together, they all work for the foreigners who have taken over the currency through subterfuge and cunning long time ago, nearly a century ago, and even before that. If you do your history, you'll understand how it all began. They've been after it since day one, and that's how they take control of a country, is by indebting the country and then rewriting the laws because, hey, you owe us. And that's how they are. And they run media and big education and the medical industry and the law enforcement industry here in America, which is why alcohol is legal. Alcohol keeps these cops busy. A lot of police have told me this. If it wasn't for alcohol, they'd be out of a job. Domestic violence, all other kinds of violence, things that fill up the prisons for a short period of time with violent criminals, or at least the local jails, and keep the cops useful, make the cops useful. That is largely due to alcohol. Now, in a society where all other drugs, all other recreational drugs are illegal, it's pretty easy to see that a lot of the other drugs are illegal, seemingly because they are non-violent creators. They do not create violence. They keep violence from happening. They keep the person somewhat subdued. They don't cause mayhem and chaos on the roads, things like this. Driving under the influence of any drug is not a good idea and is illegal, and that's probably a good thing, although if people were responsible for their lives just as they should be, and the government wasn't trying to take this responsibility away from them with the law enforcement state and things like that, then there would be a lot of changes take place in a short period of time, and certain things, certain adjustments would be made that would take all this into consideration. Like if there were no police, more people would carry guns, and sure, there'd be a lot more violence in places where there's a lot of people. There'd be a lot more violence pretty quickly. But then that would be short-lived, literally, because people that had a problem with other people would address it if someone gave you a hassle. Out west, a lot of people carry guns, and people are a lot more polite to each other, and they do not harm each other in ways. A lot of these people that do others harm are cowards, or they've gotten problems somewhere along the line in their minds or in their bodies. A lot of them have been poisoned over time, and so this is something that definitely needs to be addressed. A lot of them are mind control victims. You have a lot of that because of the media and things like that here on. But back to the subject of law enforcement and drugs, these people who are like the Republicans, who say they are coming in and going to balance the books of the country, that's the least that they want to do. They want to continue to grow the law enforcement industry, and they don't care how far in the red they go to do it, because basically the law enforcement industry is there to protect people who think they have a little something, whether they got it legally or illegally. And just about anyone here who's gotten anything in the last century or so, maybe at least a half century, has done it illegally, because there's an awful lot of profit around that is illegal. Drug profits and things like that. And the people that are in your upper echelons of society, a lot of those are just the ones that were privy to this type of profit. They think everyone else is either unfortunate or stupid. The cops protect all this. The cops are party to all this. It's a pretty dull policeman that doesn't understand where the money's really at, and corruption in the police force is rampant. The police actually seem to be behind a lot of this crime making as a way for them to keep their jobs, to stay useful. And so this is not too hard to understand. This is something that's happened down through time. And the more people wake up to the fact that, hey, we're just being squeezed to death by this group of people who have come in and taken over America, instituted an illegal police state in order to keep a hold of illegal taxes that they've also instituted, and basically to mind control people with an education system that they instituted as well, and to hold life and death over your head with a medical industry, which of course they instituted as well. Well, the more America begins to see the pieces of this puzzle and puts it together and sees the large picture, the better off America will be, and the closer we'll be to freedom and getting our money back to use here instead of paying all these taxes yearly or even daily and just having them shoveled out of the country by the trillions of dollars by, madmen like Bush and all the other people who have to have their wars going on to protect their interests overseas. And their interests overseas are basically businesses that they set up over there because they wouldn't pay the American worker. They just wanted cheap labor.